From bothering Lionel Messi and touching the World Cup trophy,
the World Cup pitch after the final, touch the World Cup and kiss the World Cup. What were you thinking?
To allegedly stealing tips from his staff and forcing women to wear revealing clothes. This is the satisfying downfall of Salt Bae. Salt Bae first became famous for a fun video that went viral. After that, he felt he had to stay in the news all the time. As years went by, people forgot he was a good cook. They only saw his weird and embarrassing acts in public. These moments were so bad that they ruined the good reputation he had before. One short video made him a celebrity, but his many bad choices destroyed that image. Now the fans who used to like him are making fun of him. His shops are losing money, and people don't respect him anymore. He did not just lose his fame, he kept looking for attention until it finally caused him trouble. To understand why Salt Bae is no longer as popular as he used to be, you have to look at how he started. Before he was famous online, he was a regular person named Nusret. He grew up in Turkey. He left school as a young boy to put all his energy into learning how to be a butcher. In those days, he had no money and no fans. No one was filming him or watching what he did. He spent many years traveling to different places to learn how to handle and cook meat correctly. Eventually, he opened a small shop in Istanbul. It was not a famous place at first, but it was successful because he worked very hard. In those years, he was respected for his skills rather than for being a performer. He began sharing videos of himself slicing meat with a small group of followers. At that time, no one knew he was about to become famous all over the world. In 2017, his life changed. He shared a short 10-second video where he did not talk. He simply cut meat and let salt fall down his arm in a flashy way. He had no idea that video would go viral. That simple motion was a massive success. People everywhere started copying him and giving him the name Salt Bae. The pose was so easy to remember that anyone could recognize him just by his outline. He stopped being a regular cook and became an internet celebrity. In the beginning, this fame was good for him. He liked the attention and it brought him a lot of money. Famous actors, rich people, and sports players all wanted to eat at his table. His shop in Istanbul became the place to go if you wanted to show off. If he served you personally, it meant you were important. He soon opened more shops in cities like London, New York, and Dubai. Every new location used the same idea. They charged high prices for meat, covered in gold, and cared more about the performance than the taste of food. People eventually stopped going to his shops for the meal. They were paying for a show. Customers spent thousands of dollars on steaks covered in gold, not for the taste, but to see him sprinkle salt in person. He was really selling a performance, and it worked well for a while. Booking a table was expensive, the wait was long, and the internet was full of photos of gold food. He used his fame to build a business worth millions. But when a brand is only about showing off, one mistake can make everyone doubt you. The mistake happened way back in 2018. The leader of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, visited Salt Bae's restaurant for an expensive dinner. Videos of the meal leaked online. They showed him eating fancy food while the people in his home country were suffering and had nothing. This made people very angry. Most were mad at Maduro, but Salt Bae got a lot of hate too. People thought it was wrong for him to serve such a pricey meal to a leader while his citizens were starving. It made the chef look like he only cared about being around rich and powerful people. In 2020, during the height of the COVID pandemic, Salt Bae opened a new steakhouse in Boston. He expected a huge success, but the shop only stayed open for 7 days. At that time, the world had very strict rules for businesses to keep everyone healthy. Instead of following these COVID safety laws, the restaurant allowed huge crowds to pack together inside and on the sidewalk. People were not wearing masks or staying apart. This risky behavior caught the eye of city leaders. When inspectors checked the building, they found something even more scary. The restaurant had blocked its emergency fire exits. In a steakhouse where chefs work with fire and hot grease, those exits are necessary for safety. By blocking the doors, the shop became a trap. Boston officials did not give him a warning. They called the shop a threat to public health and took away his licenses. The restaurant had to shut down right away. This led to a difficult legal battle. Salt Bae had to face officials who were upset that he valued fame more than the lives of his guests. To open the doors again, he had to agree to hire extra security. Their job was to manage the crowds and make sure the fire exits stayed open. He did eventually open again, but his reputation is already in the gutter. Even with that backlash, his popularity kept him going. Business did not slow down, but his luck ran out in December 2022 at the World Cup final in Qatar. Argentina won an emotional game and players were crying with joy. He appeared on the field with the team. Nobody was sure how he got there, but what he did was even worse. He showed no respect for the win. He only tried to use the moment to get likes. He bothered the players and forced Lionel Messi to take pictures. He bit a player's medal and even tried to take the World Cup trophy. That trophy is special because only the winners can touch it, but he grabbed and kissed it anyway. Fans all over the world said he was disrespectful and trying to steal attention. It felt like he was only thinking about himself. People felt embarrassed for him. Later, he said he was just caught up in the moment and did not know the rules.
Kiss the World Cup. What were you thinking?
You know, I love Argentina. I love football. And this is the accident. Before I don't know the rules. Now I know the rules. Next World Cup, I never touch the World Cup. I go to, of course, stadium, see the match, but I never touch again.
He claimed he never wanted to take focus away from the team. He said he loves the sport and it was just a mistake. He promised never to touch the prize again. Hardly anyone believed he was telling the truth. This event did more than just make him look bad. FIFA started an investigation to find out how he broke the rules. Soon after, he was told he could not go to future FIFA events.
FIFA has opened an investigation into a security and protocol breach at the end of the World Cup final in Qatar. This after celebrity chef Salt Bae was filmed harassing players from the victorious Argentine team, including Lionel Messi.
But long before that awkward day at the football final, his business was already falling apart, especially when his own staff finally spoke out about it. Former employees shared stories about how hard it was to work for him. They talked about long days with no thanks and bad treatment. One manager said he was treated poorly because he was not Turkish. When he spoke up about this unfairness, he was removed from his important job. These complaints got worse over time. Some women said they had to wear revealing clothes instead of regular uniforms. Another person said that when a customer bothered her, management told her to stay quiet and ignore it. There were even claims that the shop took passports so the team could not leave or go home. The crew took him to court. 5 grill cooks sued him, saying they worked over 72 hours a week and never got paid for the extra hours. They also claimed he took some of the tip money they earned. The judge agreed and ordered him to pay about $230,000. Right after losing the case, he fired those same men. He said they were not doing a good job, but it was obvious he was getting revenge for the court case. So the whole business was failing, and Salt Bae only made it worse when he showed a huge bill and said, "Quality is never expensive."
To make it very clear that this is some absolute clown behavior, I never think it's a good idea to try and make one thing your entire identity. Whether it's a meme, whether it's you just being a fan of something, I always think that that's always just going to be a path to cringe. Just imagine getting a huge ego because you sprinkle salt down your arm on overpriced steak.
This made people look closer at what they were paying for. They found out the gold on the food only costs a few dollars at a baking shop. Former workers said the meat was not as good as the menu claimed. The prices for drinks were even worse. A beer was $55 and a Red Bull was 30 pounds. So ratings went down quickly. Eventually, his London shop was named the worst place to eat in the city. Back in 2018, a show involving fire at a table ended in a disaster. 4 people eating there got hurt when the flames grew too large during a stunt meant to wow the crowd. The worst part was a young model who ended up with very serious burns over a large part of her body.
Oh my god! I yandı! Oh my god!
This led to many legal battles, coming from both the hurt guests and the staff members who were tired of the environment. Altogether, Salt Bae dealt with about 8 different legal cases related to his shops. People stopped seeing him as a star and started seeing him as a symbol of greed and being full of himself. Later in 2020, a man named Dwayne Miranda said the shop changed his order without asking. He wanted a normal steak, but they gave him one covered in gold that cost much more. When he would not pay the $5,000 bill, the shop called the cops on him. This news traveled fast, and the famous stars who used to hang out with him began to stay away. By 2025, the business was losing money. Word got out that the London shop was turning off the heaters while people were eating to save on bills. And then he soon shocked everyone by making the food cheaper. The man who once said that high quality is worth the high cost was suddenly cutting prices everywhere. But it did not help. Even with the lower prices, most people still could not afford to eat there. Places that used to be booked for months were now sitting empty. In America, he went from having 7 shops to only 2 in just a couple of years. He finally had to face the truth that he was no longer a star. Once the magic is gone, it's almost impossible to get it back. He was selling the feeling of being special, but once people stopped believing in that, the whole business fell apart. Lowering the prices just made him look desperate. When a brand admits the price was too high, people start to wonder what else about the business was a lie. The way he threw salt was no longer cool. It was just something he did to try to stay relevant. Today, people don't think of him as a great cook. They think of him as the person who got famous for one video and didn't know when to walk away. His life shows us that being famous online does not last forever, and a big show with nothing behind it will always fail. So subscribe or Salt Bae will season your behind.